Have you been counting the days until GTA 6? Yeah, me too. But here's the thing. There are some absolutely incredible games that deserve your attention before Rockstar takes over our lives again. And a few of them might surprise you. In this video, we're diving into 15 amazing games that can make the wait for GTA 6 a whole lot easier. From unforgettable open worlds and insane action to stories that'll stick with you long after the credits roll, these are the games every GTA fan should experience before launch. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up. There's a reason so many people still call Red Dead Redemption 2 one of the greatest games ever made, and honestly, I get it. This isn't just another open world where you check icons off a map. It feels like you're actually living in the Wild West. I can't even count how many times I planned to do one quick mission and somehow ended up hunting a legendary bear, helping a random stranger on the side of the road, or getting chased across the countryside because I accidentally ticked off an entire town. Arthur Morgan is easily one of the best written characters in gaming, and watching his journey unfold hit way harder than I ever expected. Even years later, I still catch new details, from NPC conversations to wildlife behavior that makes the world feel alive every second you're in it. Sure, the slower animations and realistic pacing aren't for everyone, but once it clicks, it's almost impossible to put down. If GTA 6 delivers even half this level of immersion, we're in for something special. But don't go anywhere, because the next game takes a completely different approach and throws you into one of the most unforgettable futuristic cities ever created. I'll be honest, Cyberpunk 2077 had one of the roughest launches I've ever seen, and I almost gave up on it. But after all the major updates, it feels like a completely different game. Night City is one of those places where every street begs you to take a wrong turn just to see what happens. One minute you're cruising through neon-lit highways, and the next you're caught in a wild firefight that turns half the block into chaos. The gunplay feels satisfying, the hacking abilities let you play however you want, and once you start upgrading your character, you genuinely feel unstoppable. Then there's the story. It isn't just about flashy action or futuristic gadgets. It hits you with tough choices, unforgettable characters, and moments that stay with you long after you put the controller down. Not everything is perfect. The police system still isn't as dynamic as a GTA game, and a few mechanics could be deeper. But the world itself is so immersive that I kept finding excuses to stay just one more hour. If you're waiting for GTA 6 because you want a massive city packed with things to do, Cyberpunk 2077 absolutely deserves a spot on your list. And trust me, the next game proves you don't need a giant map to tell an unforgettable crime story. If you've never played Mafia Definitive Edition, you're seriously missing one of the best crime stories in gaming. Unlike GTA, this game isn't trying to overwhelm you with hundreds of side activities. Instead, it keeps you locked into a gripping rise through the criminal underworld. And honestly, that's what makes it so memorable. Stepping into the shoes of Tommy Angelo feels like starring in a classic gangster movie. The city looks incredible. The vintage cars have real weight to them, and every mission feels carefully crafted instead of randomly thrown together. I still remember white-knuckle police chases where every turn mattered because these old-school cars definitely don't handle like modern sports cars. Sure, the open world isn't packed with endless things to do outside the story, and that's a fair criticism. But when the campaign is this entertaining, I barely noticed. If you're craving a grounded crime experience while waiting for GTA 6, this is an easy recommendation. And don't click away, because the next game is one of the most underrated open-world gems ever made, and it deserved way more love than it got. Sleeping Dogs. Definitive Edition is one of those games that makes you wonder how it never became a massive franchise. Instead of playing another typical criminal, you're an undercover cop trying to survive inside a dangerous gang, and that alone changes the entire vibe. Every decision feels risky because you're constantly balancing two lives, and the story keeps throwing twists at you when you least expect them. But let's talk about the combat, because this is where the game really stands out. Forget hiding behind cover for every fight. You're smashing enemies through phone booths, slamming them into air conditioners, and pulling off brutal martial arts combos that never get old. Driving through the crowded streets of Hong Kong is a blast too, especially when a simple chase suddenly turns into absolute chaos. The shooting isn't quite as polished as the hand-to-hand combat, but honestly, I was looking for excuses to avoid guns because throwing punches was just that much fun. If you want a game that mixes GTA-style freedom with the intensity of a great martial arts movie, Sleeping Dogs absolutely delivers. And trust me, the next game takes a completely different route by handing you some of the coolest hacking abilities you'll ever use in an open world. Watch Dogs 2 is the game that finally let the series show what it was really capable of. The moment you step into San Francisco, everything feels brighter, more alive, and way more playful than the first game. Playing as Marcus Holloway is just fun because you don't always have to charge in with guns blazing. Half the time, I was causing complete chaos without anyone even realizing I was there. I'd hack traffic lights to create massive pileups, hijack security cameras to scout an entire building, send a drone through a window, grab what I needed, and walk away like nothing happened. It almost feels like you're solving every mission with your own creativity instead of following one fixed path. The world is packed with personality too. From tech campuses to colorful neighborhoods, there's always something interesting around the next corner. Sure, the story can get a little goofy at times, and not every joke lands, but the freedom the game gives you easily makes up for it. If GTA 6 expands on player choice the way Watch Dogs 2 did with hacking, we're in for something really special. But don't go anywhere, because the next game is a true Rockstar classic that many fans still believe has the best story in the entire GTA series.
He think I'm way down there. I got some earlier.
Check it out.
See?
If you ask longtime GTA fans which game has the best story, don't be surprised if they immediately say Grand Theft Auto 4. And honestly, I can see why. Liberty City feels gritty, cold, and surprisingly real. It doesn't try to be the biggest open world. Instead, it focuses on atmosphere, and it absolutely nails it. Playing as Niko Bellic is a completely different experience from most Rockstar protagonists. He's not chasing fame or living some over-the-top fantasy. He's a man trying to escape his past, only to discover that the American dream isn't quite what he imagined. That grounded approach makes every mission hit harder. Then there's the driving. Some people still complain that the cars feel heavy, but that's actually one of my favorite things about the game. Every high-speed chase feels unpredictable because you can't just fly around corners at full speed without consequences. Add in the incredible physics, hilarious random NPC moments, and some of the best dialogue Rockstar has ever written, and it's easy to see why this game still has such a loyal fan base. Sure, the controls can feel a little dated by today's standards, but the storytelling and atmosphere more than make up for it. And trust me, the next game takes us in a completely different direction by dropping you into one of the most realistic medieval worlds ever created. Kingdom Come. Deliverance isn't the kind of game that holds your hand, and that's exactly why I ended up loving it. You don't start as a legendary warrior or some chosen hero. You're just Henry, an ordinary blacksmith's son who has to earn every bit of progress. At first, I couldn't even win a simple sword fight, and honestly, it was frustrating. But the more I trained, learned the combat, and figured out the game's systems, the more rewarding every victory became. Exploring medieval Bohemia feels incredibly authentic because the world isn't filled with fantasy monsters or magic. It's believable, grounded, and packed with villages, forests, castles, and random encounters that make every journey feel unpredictable. Even something as simple as traveling down a quiet road can suddenly turn into a fight for your life against a group of bandits. The game definitely has a steep learning curve, and some mechanics can feel slow in the beginning, but stick with it, and you'll discover one of the most immersive RPGs ever made. If you enjoy getting completely lost in a living, breathing world, this one is hard to beat. But don't relax just yet, because the next game swaps medieval realism for explosive military action across an absolutely massive open world. Ghost Recon Wildlands is one of those games that constantly makes you feel like you're directing your own action movie. The map is absolutely massive, and every region feels different, from dense jungles and towering mountains to dusty deserts and quiet villages. What really hooked me was the freedom. If I wanted to sneak into a cartel base in the middle of the night using a silenced sniper rifle and a drone, I could. Or I could forget the stealth, steal a helicopter, crash straight into the compound, and somehow survive the chaos. The choice was always mine. Playing with friends takes the experience to another level, because nothing beats watching a perfectly planned mission fall apart the second someone accidentally alerts the entire base. But even solo, your AI teammates do a surprisingly good job, and pulling off synchronized shots never stops feeling satisfying. Sure, enemy outposts can start to feel a little repetitive after dozens of hours, but the incredible freedom and huge sandbox kept me coming back anyway. If GTA 6 gives players this much room to tackle missions however they want, we're going to lose countless hours exploring. And trust me, the next game proves you don't need a huge budget or endless sequels to create one of the most underrated open-world experiences ever made.
You have a good attitude, friend.
Mad Max is criminally underrated, and I still don't understand why more people don't talk about it. The first time you fire up the magnum opus and tear across the wasteland, you realize this game isn't just about driving. Your car is your lifeline. Every upgrade actually matters, whether it's stronger armor, deadlier harpoons, or a bigger engine that lets you blast through enemy convoys like a wrecking ball. Those vehicle battles are pure adrenaline. Watching spikes rip tires apart, yanking armored doors off with a harpoon, and sending enemy cars flipping through the air never gets old. Outside the car, the combat is just as satisfying. It clearly takes inspiration from the Batman Arkham games, with hard-hitting punches, brutal finishers, and fights that make you feel unstoppable once you master the rhythm. The world can feel a little empty at times, and some side activities repeat more than I'd like, but somehow that lonely atmosphere fits the setting perfectly. It really feels like you're surviving at the end of the world. If you've been sleeping on this one, you're missing an open-world gem that deserves way more attention. And keep watching, because the next game is all about turning absolute destruction into the most entertaining thing you'll do in an open world. Just Cause 3 completely throws realism out the window, and honestly, that's exactly why it's so much fun. This game doesn't ask, how should you complete this mission? It asks, what's the craziest thing you can possibly do? 1 minute you're gliding across the sky with your wingsuit, the next you're grappling onto a fighter jet, hijacking it midair, and raining explosions across an enemy base. The combination of the grappling hook, parachute, and wingsuit gives you so much freedom that simply moving around the map feels like its own game. I spent hours causing chaos for absolutely no reason, blowing up fuel tanks, collapsing giant bridges, and watching entire military bases disappear in spectacular fashion. The story isn't anything you'll remember a week later, and some missions can feel repetitive, but let's be honest, nobody plays Just Cause 3 for deep storytelling. You play it because it lets you create the kind of insane action scenes that most games wouldn't even dare attempt. If you're looking for pure sandbox fun while waiting for GTA 6, this game delivers non-stop entertainment. But don't go anywhere, because the next game slows things down and proves that solving crimes can be every bit as thrilling as causing them.
Emergency, Rico. We detected a...
LA Noire is the rare Rockstar game where the biggest weapon isn't a gun, it's your ability to read people. Instead of causing chaos across the city, you're hunting for lies, spotting nervous reactions, and trying to figure out who's telling the truth before the case falls apart. I still remember staring at a suspect's face thinking, this guy is definitely hiding something, only to accuse the wrong person and completely embarrass myself. That's what makes the game so memorable. Every interrogation feels tense because you're constantly second-guessing your instincts. The 1940s Los Angeles setting is incredible too. The cars, the music, the fashion, the smoky crime scenes. It feels like stepping into an old detective movie. Not every case is perfect, and some investigations are stronger than others, but when the game is firing on all cylinders, it's unlike anything else out there. If GTA 6 surprises us with deeper detective-style missions, LA Noire will look even more ahead of its time. And trust me, the next game is a fan favorite that proves a smaller map and a tighter story can sometimes hit even harder than a massive open world.
Jesus, Dunn! Watch your fire! You don't want to do this, Wendell.
There's no way I'm going back inside.
Mafia II is one of those games that sticks with you long after the credits roll. It doesn't rely on a gigantic map or endless side activities. Instead, it tells a focused crime story that feels personal from beginning to end. Following Vito Scaletta as he climbs through the ranks of the mob is like watching an incredible gangster movie where every decision has consequences. The friendships, the betrayals, and the emotional moments all feel earned, which is why the ending still gets people talking years later. I also love how the city changes over time. Seeing different decades, new cars, updated music, and the world evolving around you makes the journey feel surprisingly authentic. The gunfights are satisfying, the driving has that classic Mafia weight, and every mission feels handcrafted instead of randomly generated. Sure, I wish there were more things to do outside the main story, but honestly, the campaign is so well paced that I never felt bored. If you're looking for another unforgettable crime experience before GTA 6 arrives, Mafia II absolutely deserves your time. But don't go anywhere, because the next game shifts gears completely and drops you into a brutal world where surviving every mile of the journey feels like a victory. Days Gone is one of the biggest comeback stories in gaming. When it first launched, a lot of people wrote it off, but anyone who gave it another chance knows just how special it really is. Riding across the broken roads of the Pacific Northwest on Deacon's motorcycle feels completely different from exploring most open worlds, because your bike isn't just transportation, it's your survival kit. You're constantly watching your fuel, repairing damage, and hoping you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. Then, there are the freaker hordes, and nothing prepares you for your first real encounter. Seeing hundreds of infected charging toward you at the same time is pure panic. I remember running for my life, throwing every explosive I had, and still wondering if I was about to get overwhelmed. Those moments are some of the most intense I've ever experienced in an open-world game. The story takes a little while to build momentum, and the opening hours can feel slower than expected, but if you stick with it, the characters and emotional payoff are absolutely worth it. By the end, I didn't want the journey to end. And trust me, the next game is a forgotten masterpiece that mixed stealth, sabotage, and open-world freedom in a way almost nobody has managed since.
Bounties. There we go.
The Saboteur is one of those hidden gems that deserved so much more attention. It takes place in Nazi-occupied Paris, but what really makes it unforgettable is the way the world changes around you. Areas under enemy control are drained of color, making everything feel lifeless and oppressive. The moment you liberate a district, color slowly returns, and it genuinely feels like you've given the city hope again. It's such a simple idea, but I've never forgotten it. Playing as Sean Devlin is a blast because you're not just running into every fight. One mission might have you sneaking onto a rooftop to plant explosives, while the next has you hijacking enemy vehicles or climbing famous landmarks to take out anti-aircraft guns. It constantly mixes stealth, action, and exploration, so the gameplay rarely feels repetitive. Sure, the shooting can feel a little dated compared to modern games, and you can definitely tell it's from another era, but its creativity more than makes up for those rough edges. If you've never played it, you're in for a surprise because there really isn't another open-world game quite like it. And now, we've reached the game that probably made the wait for GTA 6 even harder because it's still one of the greatest sandbox experiences ever created.
Spoiling for a fight. Salute that, you fucking knob jockey.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is the perfect game to end this list because, let's be honest, it's the reason so many of us are counting the days until GTA 6. More than a decade later, Los Santos still feels alive in a way that very few open worlds can match. You can spend hours following the story, get distracted by a random event, steal a sports car, race through the city, fly a jet over the mountains, and somehow end up playing golf or robbing a convenience store. That's the magic of GTA 5. It constantly creates unforgettable moments without even trying. And switching between Michael, Franklin, and Trevor was one of Rockstar's smartest ideas. Each character brings a completely different personality, making every mission feel fresh and unpredictable. Trevor's absolute insanity, Michael's struggle to leave his criminal life behind, and Franklin's hunger for something bigger all come together to create one of the most entertaining stories in gaming. Sure, after all these years, you've probably seen every corner of Los Santos, but that says more about how much time we've happily spent in this world than anything else. If GTA 6 can take everything Rockstar learned from GTA 5 and push it even further, we're about to experience something truly unforgettable. If you made it all the way to the end, you're just as excited for GTA 6 as I am. Hopefully this list gives you a few incredible adventures to dive into while we all wait for Rockstar's next masterpiece. Every one of these games offers something different, whether it's an unforgettable story, an incredible open world, or moments you'll still be talking about years later. Now I want to hear from you. Which game on this list is your favorite, and is there another game every GTA fan should play before GTA 6 arrives? Drop your picks in the comments because I'm always looking for hidden gems. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more gaming content, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy gaming!